A bald man walks into the airport security checkpoint. A package goes through the scanner. Suddenly, a large caliber gun is detected inside. The atmosphere at the security area instantly turns tense. The security staff widen their eyes in shock. At the same time, another officer notices something unusual in fear. The man is also hiding a belt loaded with weapons. He is immediately escorted to the interrogation room. Facing the police, the man shows no sign of fear. He coldly says, "I'm hunting down a girl. If anyone gets in my way, I won't hesitate to take them down." His arrogant words enrage the officer, who loads his sniper rifle in warning to subdue this dangerous man. But just a second later, he easily dodges the bullet. That man is an AI. Why does he possess abilities far beyond human limits? And what dark conspiracy has he been pulled into? The story begins with a secret experiment. A Romanian research institute specializing in genetic engineering, approved by the government, a team of experts applied gene modification techniques to create cloned individuals far superior to normal humans. The clones became highly intelligent and agile. They possessed physical strength beyond ordinary people. Additionally, their ability to feel pain and emotion was suppressed. They could only be identified by a barcode on the back of the neck. They became perfect combat machines. And that man was one of the coldest and most ruthless among them. He had no real name. He was known only by the code 47, a top-level assassin. Not long ago, Dr. Victor, the head of the project, could no longer bear the weight of his conscience. He used the cover of night to escape from the research facility filled with wrongdoing. After that, he vanished as if he never existed. Fearing exposure of the experiment, the government acted immediately. They ordered the project to be shut down to avoid public outrage. All related information was completely wiped out. The remaining subjects, and including 47, had their identities changed. They went into hiding within an international assassin organization, becoming its sharpest blades. But things didn't end so easily. The value of human body enhancement became a highly tempting opportunity. It gave off an irresistible allure. A greedy biotech company couldn't resist the temptation. They secretly restarted the ethically questionable project and sought a way to bring Victor back to support them. The biotech company launched a covert search through intelligence agencies. Eventually, they identified Victor's daughter Katya. However, this action crossed a forbidden line set by the Romanian government. The government immediately contacted the International Assassin Organization and deployed their strongest agent, 47. Upon receiving the mission, 47 didn't disappoint. He quickly located Katya's whereabouts. At the same time, he recovered the final classified documents. He even managed to dismantle the entire biotech company. Despite suffering major losses, the company didn't abandon its dark ambitions. They hired a top agent named John, who managed to track down Katya ahead of 47. Their contact, Anna, quickly informed 47 of the situation and issued a new mission: eliminate Katya and John within 48 hours. Meanwhile, Katya wakes up from a terrifying nightmare. In the dream, she sees a man wearing a red tie, holding a silver gun. Though his face is blurry, an overwhelming fear grips Katya. So she quickly packs her things, preparing to leave. By the time 47 arrives at her location, the room is already empty. Using his sharp tracking skills and keen observation, 47 quickly determines the direction of her escape. At a crowded subway station, he spots Katya and John fleeing. The moment they cross paths, the agent and the assassin engage in a fierce showdown. Panic erupts as people scatter in every direction. Katya takes advantage of the chaos and runs up the stairs. John tries to stop 47, but is easily overpowered. As the gun is about to finish Katya, John rushes in like a madman. He throws himself toward 47 without hesitation. Both men fall onto the train tracks. After struggling intensely, it's clear that 47 has the upper hand. But at that moment, a train comes barreling through and strikes 47. Seizing the opportunity, John tries to get up. He fights through the pain to reunite with Katya. They quickly head to the parking garage. Just in time, they jump into the waiting getaway car. But before they can even catch their breath, a bullet suddenly shatters the window. The driver, mid-sentence, slumps over lifelessly. Witnessing the terrifying scene, John acts without hesitation. He pulls the terrified Katya from the car and runs for their lives. However, 47, like a ghost, stays right on their tail. The shadow of danger looms over them once more. To protect Katya, John suddenly comes up with a daring idea. In a desperate and daring move, the two ran with all their strength and finally reached the gates of the U.S. Embassy. Seeing Katya was safe, he pulled out a hidden gun and fired a shot into the air. The embassy security guards immediately surrounded and apprehended both of them. The situation seemed extremely dangerous. From a distance, 47 observed the whole scene. Moments later, he coldly turned and walked away. Once inside the embassy, Katya finally felt a fragile sense of safety. In response to questions from the security staff, she recounted everything that had happened. She begged for protection. When they learned someone was targeting civilians, the officer frowned with concern. But before he could ask more, Katya sensed something was wrong. She urgently warned that the assassin had arrived. Right then, 47 entered the embassy, fully armed. During the security check, he deliberately exposed his sniper rifle and lethal weapon. As a result, 47 was taken to the interrogation room, the same scene shown at the beginning of the film. For genetically enhanced clones, metal and bullets were like children's toys. Meanwhile, in the next holding cell, John heard the gunfire and instantly sensed something was off. Without hesitation, he broke the glass, took down the guard who responded to the noise, then rushed to find the shocked Katia and continued their escape. By now, 47 had changed uniforms and escaped pursuit inside the embassy. He began tracking the whereabouts of John and Katia, seeing them fleeing in a police car. He climbed to the roof of the embassy and assembled his sniper rifle. As the police vehicle came into view through the scope, a deadly moment was about to unfold. The bullet hit Katia's arm with deadly accuracy. Fortunately, they still managed to escape and hide in a hotel. After a short rest, Katia curiously asked John what his true purpose was. John didn't want to say much, only that the biotech company had sent him to protect her. Hearing that, Katia looked scornful. She knew they wanted to use her to find Victor. Victor had abandoned her since she was a child. How could they be sure she'd know where he was? Under pressure, John finally revealed a secret. It turned out Victor had once experimented on Katia, granting her extraordinary perception. She could memorize visuals, sounds, and analyze information at incredible speed. With this, she could predict future events, a form of foresight. At first, Katia didn't believe it, but thinking of 47, she decided to take a gamble. She used her ability to help the biotech company trace Victor's location. It might be her only hope in this dire situation. She took out documents she had gathered over the years. Combining them with the new intel from John, she sensed that Victor might be in Singapore, but before she could say it aloud, danger struck. 47 suddenly appeared in the room without warning. He swiftly shot John, who was trying to flee, then knocked Katia unconscious and took her away. When Katia regained consciousness, she found herself imprisoned in a dark room. The air was suffocating. She struggled violently, trying to free her tied wrists. To her surprise, 47 didn't eliminate her as ordered. He slowly approached and gently took her hand. In that moment, a wave of unfamiliar memories flooded in. Katia recalled long-buried truths. It turned out that she and 47 were both experimental subjects who once lived together in the lab as children. Years ago, Victor tried to escape with his wife, daughter, and 47, but they were surrounded by pursuers. In the chaos, Victor's wife was killed. Katia was hidden in a drainage tunnel and survived. Young 47 witnessed everything. This time, he wasn't here to harm her. He came to protect her. Anyone with insight could see the biotech company was just using Katia to lure Victor out. Once they succeeded, they planned to get rid of her to cover their tracks. Devastated by the harsh truth, Katia was overwhelmed. She wanted to find her father and ask why he had abandoned her. But instead of untying her, 47 walked over to a switch. The lights turned on. A massive turbine roared to life, as if ready to devour Katia. It was clearly a test, a challenge 47 had set up. Facing danger, Katia's mind suddenly became razor sharp. She calmed herself and quickly calculated a way to escape. She twisted her limbs through the gaps in the restraints, then lifted herself over the chair, flipping to the other side. Using the turbine's suction, she escaped successfully. But when she met 47 again, he seemed slightly displeased. It turned out Katia's codename was 90, which meant she was supposed to be even more capable and sharper than 47, but her escape speed didn't meet expectation. At that moment, soldiers from the biotech company arrived at the facility. Seeing that the enemies were heavily armed, 47 abandoned the plan to stay hidden. Instead of fighting head-on, he decided to use the situation as a training test for Katia. He moved between the guards, activating the plant's machinery. The loud noise quickly drew attention. Katia used her sensing ability to predict the enemy's position. Soon after, 47 emerged like a shadow and took down 2 guards. The engine noise masked the gunfire, thanks to Katia, and 47 could accurately predict and ambush the pursuers. With the help of machinery, they quickly wiped out most of the enemies. Just when they thought they were safe, a terrifying scene unfolded. John, who was thought to be dead, suddenly appeared in front of Katia. This time, his eyes were cold, stripped of all the gentleness they once held. Thankfully, 47 arrived just in time. Without a word, the two launched into a fierce battle. Inside the hazardous factory, 47 didn't want to drag things out. He aimed to end the fight quickly. Seizing an opening, he pulled a dagger from his waist and struck John in the chest. But unexpectedly, a metallic sound echoed beneath John's clothes. Turns out, John survived thanks to a specially reinforced bulletproof layer under his skin. The armor was embedded in liquid form into his tissue. It not only provided high defense, but also enhanced physical coordination. In combat, John was even more formidable. This was originally an unfinished idea from the government's project. Unexpectedly, the biotech company further developed and applied it. Misinformation had put 47 at a disadvantage. In a critical moment, Katia bravely stepped in. With firm eyes, she aimed at the back panel on John's suit and pulled the trigger. Just like that, both of them narrowly escaped danger. Having faced life and death, Katia began to let go of her distrust. She confessed to 47 that Victor might be in Singapore. Hearing that, 47 decided to go with her. Because the biotech company's headquarters was also in Singapore, he hadn't expected Victor to be that bold. But they didn't know their conversation had been monitored and sent to Anna 47's contact. Meanwhile, John rushed back to the previous hotel. Using documents Katia had left behind, John also realized Victor was likely in Singapore. Soon after, 47 and Katia flew to Singapore. 47 changed into an airport security uniform to avoid detection. Katia used the crowd as cover and exited the terminal safely. They reunited outside the airport. At this point, multiple factions had gathered in Singapore. Would they find Victor? Back at the hotel, Katia asked about the barcode on the back of 47's neck. He only said it was a symbol of identity and didn't elaborate. Frustrated, Katia changed the subject and asked about the experiment. Data suggested that clones could feel emotions, yet 47 seemed completely indifferent. Still, he didn't want to share more. Afterward, 47 leaned back in his chair and rested in silence. This made Katia even more disheartened. While 47 was fast asleep, she secretly took his gun and began disassembling it. Little did she know, a new threat was quietly approaching. The next morning, a faint noise outside the door woke 47. He instinctively reached for his gun, but his hand found nothing. Without hesitation, he jumped up, ready to fight. A sharp dagger swiftly took out the intruder. Only then did Katia realize she had made a serious mistake. She rushed out, holding the half-assembled gun, apologizing and saying that dismantling things helped her cope with stress. 47 didn't scold her. He simply said coldly, "There won't be a next time." Realizing they had been exposed, the two quickly left the hotel. But Singapore was the headquarters of the biotech company. Their every move was recorded by a web of surveillance camera. All footage was transmitted to the central monitoring system. Once they located 47 and Katia, CEO Cindy ordered John to capture them alive at all costs. Elsewhere, 47 had brought Katia to reunite with her father, Victor. But Victor was not pleased by their arrival. He didn't want his daughter dragged into such a dangerous scheme. Moreover, he was in the final stage of lung cancer and didn't have much time left. He wanted to avoid involving her, and he feared 47. As the lead scientist of the genetics project, he understood how dangerous the clones truly were. To him, 47 was a weapon created by the government, emotionless, impervious to pain, and programmed only to obey. But Katia stood firm, saying Victor had no right to decide for her. She wanted to change her father's mind, because during her time with 47, she had come to realize he wasn't the cold, emotionless person her father thought he was. He had feelings and personal boundaries. At that moment, a deadly presence approached from afar. 47 drew his gun and quickly took down the assassin that had appeared behind them. He immediately led them to the parking garage. A red Audi sped out of the area, but their escape wouldn't be easy. John had already set up an ambush ahead. Motorbike riding enforcers surrounded the building. They were fully armed, with submachine guns ready. They opened fire wildly on the vehicle. 47 remained composed, steering with expert precision. He maneuvered through the hail of bullets and took out one of the bikers. Following Katia's direction, he rammed the car through a glass wall. John immediately ordered the building locked down. Seeing the barriers rising, Zastates, 47 floored the accelerator, escaping the garage just in time. The pursuing car slammed into the barriers and was completely wrecked. But the danger wasn't over yet. As they reached the city center, steel cables dropped from above, latching onto the car from all directions. The immense pulling force caused the car to spin out of control. 47 took a deep breath, slammed the gas pedal, trying to rip the steel cables loose with engine power. But by now, the biotech company's operatives had surrounded the area in an ambush. The ends of the steel cables were anchored into solid, reinforced concrete. No matter how hard 47 tried, the car wouldn't budge. Multiple attackers slid down the cables, trying to surround the trio. 47 decisively opened the car door. He unleashed a storm of gunfire, dropping anyone who came close. Although his aim was deadly accurate, more enemies kept landing. They fired relentlessly at the group. The situation grew worse by the second. 47 had no choice but to fight, while leading Katia and Victor in retreat. Unfortunately, Victor was hit in the abdomen during their escape. Not wanting to slow them down, he signaled 47 to take Katia and go. 47 stuffed an inhaler into Victor's pocket, then quickly fled with Katia. Victor was soon captured by John and his team and taken back to the company's HQ. Elsewhere, Katia angrily confronted 47. But 47 didn't argue. He calmly injected her with a tranquilizer, then carried her away from the danger zone. That night, 47 climbed to the rooftop of a skyscraper alone. Directly across was the headquarters of the biotech company. On screen, footage of Victor being interrogated played. The inhaler 47 gave him was actually a disguised tracking device. Using that signal, 47 had infiltrated the company's surveillance system. At that moment, Cindy herself was interrogating Victor with John. They were desperately trying to restart the project and create more combat units. But no matter how hard they tried, their researchers couldn't overcome a technical barrier. So they took Katia hostage, forcing Victor to reveal the secret to the project's success. Cindy's true intentions were exposed. Victor refused to help the corrupted mission. Right then, 47's voice rang out over the lab's loudspeaker. Cindy's face turned pale. She immediately demanded to know how he breached their system. Her reaction showed she knew exactly who was speaking. It turned out, 47's true mission in Singapore wasn't just to protect Katia and Victor, but to eliminate CEO Cindy. The International Assassin Organization had a long-standing grudge against her. Katia and Victor were merely bait to lure her out of her secure hiding place. 47 then proposed a deal to Cindy. Victor's greatest creation wasn't 47, it was his daughter. Katia, Victor had rewritten Kadia's genes to enhance her survival instincts. She was gifted with perception so advanced, it was almost prophetic. 47 announced he would trade Katia in exchange for Victor. Following his instructions, Cindy looked outside and saw a helicopter through the window. Katia was tied to the control stick, unable to move. Witnessing the exchange, her fury instantly erupted. She believed 47 had betrayed her. Seeing her father being tortured and the mastermind before her, she completely lost control. She gripped the control stick tightly and aimed the helicopter straight at the building. Katia escaped just before the crash. She used her foresight ability to take down approaching guards. Elsewhere, Cindy was escorted to her office by John for safety. Unexpectedly, 47 was already waiting there. John intercepted the fatal blow in time, saving Cindy's life. The two men launched into another brutal fight. 47 attacked fast and precisely, quickly gaining the upper hand, but John's reinforced body armor allowed him to recover from multiple blows. At times, he even gained the advantage. In a critical moment, 47 spotted an exposed electric cable behind John. Seizing the opportunity, he pulled a wire hidden on it. He wrapped it around John's neck and pressed it to the live cable. Electricity surged through the armor and his body. John was electrocuted on the spot. Meanwhile, Katia found 47 amidst the chaos. She let go of her grudge, focused only on rescuing her father. Together, they rushed to the rooftop helipad. By then, Cindy was preparing to flee with Victor. But against the most skilled assassin and a powerful psychic, ordinary guards were no match. 47 charged forward, attacking head-on. With expert marksmanship and reflexes, he took down enemies one by one. Katia used her foresight to anticipate enemy attacks. She supported 47 with precision. But while they fought, the helicopter was preparing for takeoff. Katia rushed after it. Unexpectedly, a surviving guard snuck up and attacked her from behind. Fortunately, 47 arrived just in time and took him out with a deadly strike. Aboard the helicopter, Victor had made his final decision. He held the inhaler and firmly pressed the button. A massive explosion followed the helicopter burst into flames. 47 stood still, his expression complex as he looked at the scene before him. He pulled out his phone and reported to the organization the mission was complete. But in reality, he had one more target: Katia herself. The organization ordered the elimination of everyone involved in the experiment to officially end the gene project. But now, a strange feeling surged within 47. He was tired of living like a tool that longed to be free to be human. In the end, 47 refused the order to kill Katia. Anna wasn't surprised by this decision. The organization had anticipated it. To them, 47 was just a pawn disposable at any moment. Suddenly, Katia's expression changed. She sensed a powerful presence approaching. Moments later, the elevator doors slowly opened. Stepping out was a clone identical to 47. The film ends here. This movie is adapted from the best-selling video game of the same name. It blends action, suspense, and crime. The protagonist is the cloned assassin known as 47. The story explores human nature and the awakening of free will. It analyzes the complex relationship between technology, humanity, and destiny. This is a sequel to a popular film series, and it does not disappoint movie lovers. 47 is the product of genetic engineering. His creation was a technological achievement and the beginning of a tragedy. When science can freely shape life and birth, humans can be turned into living weapons. But is that progress or a betrayal of humanity? His encounter with Katia was like a ray of light in a deep, dark abyss. 47 began to question his purpose. Emotions slowly awakened within him. He was no longer a heartless machine. He no longer wanted to be a servant of technology. He wanted to truly live, to break free from his chains, to search for his own freedom and dignity. The value of the film lies in the story it tells. The value of commentary lies in what it truly makes you feel. That's the end of today's story. Thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comments below.